could all tell us, including Mr. Ford, what do you make of the Ford phenomenon, if I can call it that? He's been doing very well in the polls, the latest ones. He's the front runner. He seems to have tapped into a kind of anger in the city. Some people find it scary. Some people find it inspiring. I'm wondering what you make of it and what kind of a mayor you think he would make.
And you're going to ask all the other candidates? Okay, let's go, Joe.
Well, first of all, as somebody said, the only poll that counts is on election day. You know, 6 years ago when David Miller got elected and John Tory was second, the person who was first at this time in the calendar was Barbara Hall. The second person was John Nunziata. So therefore, people are beginning to pay attention now. That phenomena, if you call it, is interesting, but it's not the final outcome. I find it more interesting because all my colleagues to my left, but not politically, basically are trying to all be attracted to that magnet to my right. You know, and by so doing, clearing the center, and the left for Joe Pantalone. You know, if you want to vote for a progressive city builder who's not going to demolish the place like all of them want to do, then it makes it clear. So I'm pleased by that personally. And the fact that Mr. Ford is able to get the vote of his colleagues only 16% of the time is only going what indicates that you're going to have a team captain without a team if he were to get elected, which he won't be.
Okay, thank you, George. Joe. And we're going to go to Sarah, please.
Yes, I think I tapped into the anger with myself when I decided to run. I was angry, and I think the people out there are angry, and I think Mr. Ford has tapped into that. But I think as they look deeper, what will happen is they'll see that Mr. Ford doesn't show up to council. He says, I've been to more committee meetings, more budget committee meetings than Mr. Ford has in the last year. I don't even work there. So I think people will see that, hold it here, you know, what is he saying? Yes, he's tapping into the anger. We're all angry. And how can we turn that anger into something more productive and move our city forward? How can we expand the subway system? How can we do what we need to do and take back our city?
Okay, thank you. George?
I think that the phenomenon is fueled by a genuine frustration that Torontonians have that for as much as they've given, they haven't seen very much in return. And you could almost call it the Pantalone phenomenon because his whole argument is just keep giving us more and eventually I guess something's going to get better. People have paid a lot more, but the services really don't seem to have followed, and I think that this gives rise to, in a time of some economic uncertainty, gives rise to that kind of opportunity. I think where we will in the next 45 days be needing to focus our time is on fiscal reality, because what no one's yet held Mr. Ford to account is with respect to his plan to take $1 billion out of the revenue stream. Now, I say for 1 year we can freeze taxes and you forego some new revenue. His plan already on the books, including new spending, but he said $1 billion in revenue that he plans to give back. And he's not told us beyond an anecdote about a party or this or that. He's not told us specifically what service implications come from his $1 billion unfunded commitment to reduce revenues.
Really want to get to the audience? Rocco?
The anger and frustration out in the city of Toronto is the true political legacy of the Miller years. That is the ultimate legacy, and that's what everyone is wrestling with. And there's no question that Mr. Ford has tapped into that. I'm not an angry person. I am frustrated at what's going on, but I believe and am an optimist, and have always been an optimist. And I think at the end of the day, Torontonians are going to want a plan to move from anger and frustration to action. There is no plan. There's a series of anecdotes in Mr. Ford's. There is no record of consensus building, which is absolutely necessary in a system. And there are a series of character and judgment flaws that have been repeatedly in newspapers that as people focus are going to wonder if this is in fact who we want representing the city of Toronto.
Thank you, Rocco. Now I'm going to go, to you, Rob. You've got the final. I'm not taking rebuttals on this one, so be as angry as you want.
That's fine. It just comes down to, I know people are fed up with the gravy train and the wasteful spending down at City Hall. I've been down there for 10 years. I'm glad to see my colleagues are taking pages out of my playbook every day. My good friend Mr. Rossi now agrees that council should be reduced from 44 to 22. In the beginning he said it can't be done. I'm glad to see Mr. Smither and Mr. Pantalone once.
yes, not me. I don't follow.
I don't interrupt you.
I apologize.
Right. Okay, thank. And I see that they want to abolish the vehicle registration tax. When I first registered, I said I'm going to abolish the vehicle registration tax. People are sick and tired of the wasteful spending, the $12,000 retirement parties that are going on, and Mr. Pantalone. And Mr. Pantalone and Mr. Smitherman were at that party. They condone that sort of behavior. It's absolutely wrong. So it's just, it's common sense, and people know that I'm going to go down to City Hall and I will put an end to the wasteful spending and the gravy train once and for all. The party will be over when I'm mayor.
Okay, thank you very much.